Hi, this is John Ondo from Marketing Media and Cupcakes. And before we get into today's episode, I just want to say thank you so much for listening. We're back after being gone for over 4.5 years. And I hope you get a chance to listen to episode 77, where we explain why we were gone for so long and that we're back for at least 3 more episodes. Angel and I are big supporters of entrepreneurship, and we love small businesses and faith-based businesses. And we just want to encourage you through our podcast each week. What's going to determine if we continue with more episodes will be the response. Subscribe to us on your platform. Send us an email at john@ondomedia.com. That would help us know you're listening and you want more episodes. So thank you so much, and let's get into today's episode.
Why does my mic sound suddenly quiet? Maybe it's just me.
You're probably not talking as much. No,
How'd you hear that?
No, I'm just serious. You're not talking as loud.
Oh, okay. I'll start talking louder.
All right.
This is the small business podcast that is sweeter than all the rest. Marketing, media, and cupcakes.
Hello, I'm John Ondo. Along with me is my wife, Angel.
Hi there.
And we are both small business owners. Angel has a custom cupcake business that we do out of her house.
Yes.
And she also has a full-time gig. She's a wonderful customer service trainer and does customer service. And I have a media production company called Ondo Media. And we also have another business called Premier Podcast, which we help people do professional podcasting. Because with us, I want to introduce our guest today. Brittany Dixon is back with us. She was with us a few weeks ago. Hi, Brittany.
Hello.
Back
Thanks
by
for
popular.
having me.
Yay, back by popular
She
demand.
is a podcast host as well, so she's familiar with this setup. Process for Profit is her podcast, and it's great because she's doing what most people hate to do, which is try to be organized, try to think ahead. Maybe you're thinking, where's all my time going? Or where's all my money going? Stay tuned, because Brittany will solve all of our problems here in the next few minutes.
Awesome.
And that can be great.
In the next few minutes. Oh, that's a big feat.
Well, we do amazing things here, so we
All
can
right.
keep it moving.
Let's do
so
it.
let's just pick on you, Angel. So you have a cupcake business.
I do.
You are an organized person. So this
attempt it.
So this will be kind of fun because, in the sense, I think most people who think they're organized and probably are organized, think I don't need processes, or you're an entrepreneur spirit and you think, I'm the only one who can make this magic. I do that all the time with my Ondo Media. I'm like, I'm the only guy who can do Ondo Media because it's my stuff. So how do you work? How do you possibly get any business from people like us, Brittany? Because we're very difficult people to work with.
You can be organized and still get better. We all can.
I don't believe that.
All of my processes can still be improved. So for solo business owners, it's difficult because you want to do the thing you started your business for.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to deal with all the back end stuff, right?
Right.
But there are so many benefits to using some of these awesome tools out there, even if you are solopreneur by yourself. We were talking about Trello a little bit, and it is an amazing tool, even if you're just trying to manage stuff in your family.
So explain what Trello is for people
Yeah,
who
for
are
sure.
not organized, who are listening to this, because that's the reason they're here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it is a digital task manager, project management tool. It's kind of like digital sticky notes. It's
Okay.
Super cool. It's the Kanban method, so it's like the to-do, doing, done kind of methodology. But you can customize it. It's completely customizable. And you can create tasks and assign due dates and put pretty labels on there and all kinds of fun stuff.
So even if I'm just by myself, I should do these things as opposed to when I have employees or something.
Absolutely. When you are a solopreneur, if you have any plans to scale your business and grow, even if you are not, you have to get the stuff out of your head. You cannot hold on to all the tasks and all the people and the follow-ups and the things you have to do and the client work. And it just becomes too much. And then you're up at night and you're like, oh, I forgot to do that thing. Or, oh my gosh, I have to email that client. Or you're working 15 hours a day.
Or you're just working all the time because you got a phone and you're just constantly checking it.
You're just continually working and it's nonstop. And that's not what we started our business for. We started our business to have more freedom and be able to work when we wanted and all of that good stuff. So really it helps you kind of brain dump and get everything out and organize it in a way that you know when things are due and you know when you need to be checking in on things and it's not living in your head.
So let's take Angel, for example, because I don't want to be picked on. So let's
Okay.
Angels, a one woman band
Yep.
for
I am.
Angels Custom Cupcakes.
Yep.
Yes.
And what's great about what Angel does for me with Ondo Media is she runs my book. She has the QuickBooks. I used to do it, but she does it better. So I relinquished that after a long time and realizing I could do that. But so you're good with books, you're good with budgets. So I would think most people would say, well, you're in pretty good shape. What are the things that you, sweetie, think about that you wish you could do better at?
Well, what I was just going to ask, so I have no problem being picked on, but what do you do when you know, because as soon as you said it has all these things that come up with due dates.
Mhm.
And I historically, and still to this day, am a huge procrastinator.
Yeah.
I will do due dates at work and I will flip the page and then they're gone. And hey, I don't need to worry about that anymore. And it's, oops, I forgot. It's a coping mechanism, I know, but I am so bad with that kind of thing. So you tell me I have to do something by this date. I'm either going to do it the moment you tell me because I don't want to have to worry about it, even though it's not due for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to do it 2 hours before it's due.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to get it to you late and say I'm sorry. So how do you fix somebody who's as a serial
Yeah.
procrastinator?
So planning things really gives you more freedom. So I have this whole method. It's the 3 Ps of productivity. So at the end of my day, every single day, I process my day first.
Okay.
So any kind of notes I've taken, any kind of action items that need to go onto my calendar, any of that kind of stuff, I really just process the day to see what kind of follow-up tasks come from that.
Okay.
After I do that, I sit down and plan out what my next day needs to look like to get stuff done.
Okay.
So this is the end of day process again
Yeah,
that you're
end
doing.
of the day, it typically takes about 15 to 30 minutes, depending on kind of how many appointments I've had, all of that good stuff. And once you master the process, it goes a lot faster. So then I go and plan out my next day and kind of arrange things in the order they have to be done and make that task list essentially.
Okay.
And then after that, I prepare anything I'm going to need for that next day. So client files or information, like whatever I need to do the things on my task list.
Okay.
And by doing that, you have kind of a pulse on what's going on at all times. So if you know that there's a lot of overdue tasks that you didn't complete from the day before, you can kind of plan out a block of time for the next day. So
Okay.
it really just allows you to kind of have a pulse on what's going on. But I mean, I'll tell you, even me, like I have a lot of overdue things that I have to shift just
Okay.
because there's a massive amount of stuff to do,
Okay.
especially as a business owner. And obviously like priority type things need to take that first step and go into those priority things first when you start working. So yeah, even me, I've got overdue tasks.
So is your theory then when you start your day 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning, you can just jump into it, or do you have to do another review at that point?
No. So it's so that you can jump straight into
right
your
in.
first day.
And see, and I like that. Now, what I do, which would prove that I need to do more of it, I tend to work my organization into weeks.
Yep.
So it's typically my Friday at 5 o'clock when everybody calls me because I don't know how everybody
I
else's
can
job
attest
is.
to that, people.
It starts at about 4 o'clock.
Stop calling on
I
Fridays.
also notice spam calls come more on Friday. So it's like my phone starts ringing off the hook at about 3 o'clock. I'm starting to wind down. It's like, yay, my list is done. I'll get a call from a client or someone and will say, hey, I need this for tomorrow. And I'm like, dude, it's 4 o'clock and I'm getting ready to leave.
Yeah.
And so I end up having
But he still does it.
Yeah, so a lot of that's boundary setting. There's got to be some
He still does it.
boundaries
But the
and
whole-
client expectations, all those things.
But the whole point is at the end of the day, I try to go through. I do it on paper because it's a long story. But because actually it's a combination. I do it on my calendar and on paper. I just like scratching things off where I can't do it. If I could do a pen and scratch things off on my phone, I'd probably like it better. But I do that on a Friday and then I hit the road on Monday. But the problem is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Shifts.
And it's a little bit of a mess. And then I'm like, what was this? I don't remember what that says. And so daily is better.
Yeah, so I do both. So I will sit down either on Friday night, kind of like you do, or I will sit down Saturday morning when my kids are watching cartoons, and I will map out my entire week. And as we all know, you can plan all you want and stuff's going
Right.
to come up. So that's essentially what I do. I'll lay out my entire week. I'm like, this is a perfect week for me. But at the end of Monday, I move things and shift things based on all the things I did. Same thing on Tuesday. So I'm basically just kind of shifting throughout. But again, it's just giving me that pulse to see what's going on, what's most important, what can wait. Kind of that 4 quadrants, like the important but not urgent, all of that good stuff, and kind of filtering it out that way. Because there's just, it's just impossible to do everything. There's so many tasks.
So Trello is a good way of doing that, obviously.
It is,
and it is that what you're mentioning? It's like it's a quadrant kind of concept, or
you can set it up that way. It's kind of like digital sticky notes, but you can use different labels for that type of thing, for like urgent or like business versus personal, those kinds of things. There's obviously a million other tools. There's one called Asana that I actually
sounds
really
relaxing.
Funny. Haven't told, I know, right? I haven't told a lot of my listeners yet, but I moved from Trello to Asana because I've upgraded some things in my business and it just works a little bit better. There's another one called Monday.com. There's a bunch of like just to-do list apps as well that might work easier if you're just kind of jumping into it.
So again, I'm assuming because people who are listening to a podcast are a little bit more technical, mobile friendly than maybe some of my other friends who have flip phones. And I'm not sure if I can help you with that, but I'm assuming the concept is I've got it on my laptop, I've got it on my cell phone, reminders and stuff if you're using Apple or Android or something.
Connects in to your calendar. There's lots of reminders. It's on the go, so you can add tasks quickly when you have something pop into your head and you're like, oh, I have to do that thing. You can add it super quick and it basically goes to all of your devices so that you are not forgetting stuff. I have some cool automations set up too. I actually use the Amazon Alexa at home, and I have, anytime I add a task to my to-do list, it zaps it into my project management tool. So I'll just be like cleaning the house, like, oh, add this thing to my to-do list. So yeah, I do a lot of things with that, but it basically just allows you to have your task list and things you have to do with you all the time.
I'm just trying to figure out how I could utilize that when there's no orders, there's nothing coming. I'm probably okay with that because, again, it's not like, so important.
Yeah.
But then when it's like
all the orders come in,
everybody wants something all at the same time. And I found myself in a position over committing. I still delivered, but I over committed, and then I wasn't happy with what I was doing. So how do you fix that?
Because you mentioned the onboarding, and I think that's a big thing that you struggle with, is because everything's custom. Somebody calls you up, and it may be a cupcake, it may be a custom cake, and that's what onboarding is when you're getting that customer
it's all
in.
that customer coming into your pipeline, essentially.
Yes. And getting that all versus writing it on a piece of paper, which is what I do. I mean, I sit there and I kind of scribble, and sometimes it'll be email, sometimes it'll be a text message. Occasionally we'll get to have a conversation, which I usually prefer because I get more of the details.
Yeah, there's a couple of different ways you could use Trello in your business just as a solopreneur that way. You could set it up like a CRM, which is customer relationship manager. So to track the different conversations and stuff you guys have talked about. And if people are kind of still in the lead phase versus I've committed. So you can use it that way to see kind of how many leads you have and how many clients you have. But I think you could also use it to keep track of all of their like contact information and pictures of the cakes that they want, or emails that they've sent. There's actually an email extension for Trello that you can send in. And you can essentially set up kind of a pipeline of like, these are the ones I'm doing right now. These are the ones that I have to do next. These are the ones that are next month, and kind of set it up that way.
Well,
so you can see your workflow and see how many people you've committed to.
You've said a couple times, I want to go back and use that frosting I used from another cake. And sometimes you don't remember.
And you can put the recipes in there.
Which scares me because I forget everything. I have to write everything down. But Angel is writing. We were at a funeral last week, and she's writing down all my family members' names because she knows I'm going to forget them eventually.
And I don't know them. They only have to remember me, and there's 45 of them. So I don't think it's quite fair. So I'm like, all right, here we go.
She really is my Trello in life as far as keeping me on track and everything. But I mean, it's not funny, but I do see you struggle sometimes with the, I have to do this, and what was that recipe? And I can't even imagine in my head how you keep track of all that stuff.
Yeah, and Trello would be perfect for that. That specific recipe and the pictures, you could take a picture of the final product so that you had that for reference for other clients and keep everything. It's called a card. So you're essentially keeping it in one little space, and you've got attachments and pictures and phone numbers and names and information and recipes all in one spot for that specific person.
So kind of like, and I'm really going to kick it old
Yeah.
school here, like a filing card system that we used to have back in the 90s, where you had a card in their
90s.
name. Well, I had them in 93
No.
when I started. It was,
I
what is it? A Rolodex.
I was 3.
Okay. I kind of thought you might have been, but
I
it's, we're not
didn't
going to
do
talk
much
about
with the Rolodex.
That's
but
okay.
yes,
But you know what it
essentially,
is.
I do.
You pull the card out and it has
Yeah.
all their pertinent information on it.
It's the digital version.
The
of
digital
that.
version of a
Where you have
Rolodex.
access when you're at the grocery store and need to buy things, and you're like, "What was the thing I needed to buy for that person and that person?" And,
Gotcha.
and you
Okay.
just
That's
do
good.
that.
I'm going to have to download it just to see. I think it's the tasks
Okay.
that frighten me. I'm going to be honest. This has got to be done. I mean, there's something to be said for having it in writing
Mhm.
versus in your head.
Oh yeah.
And it's so much easier to go meh when it's in your head.
Yep.
But then when you see it written,
And then you
There's
see all the things. You're like,
written.
"Oh, I should probably do some stuff."
yeah, and I think there's like an accountability. Maybe that's what I want to say that people are afraid of.
Yeah.
I mean, I did for the first time ever when I had my overcommitment. I had a list of things. I'm like, do this first, do this first, do this first, do this first. And at the end it says, and then cry a little, because that was literally what I assumed was going to happen. And that's what happened
Yeah.
at the end of it when I was crossing things off.
Yeah.
But at least I could put it in there digitally.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking with Brittany Dixon, who is the host of Process for Profit podcast, and she's giving us some tips on how to get more organized. Now, I've had to deal with some project management software in the past, and I know some people who are just, that's all they do. I'm like, they don't create anything other than project management stuff. So the struggle I have is, and you know what I'm going to say, you've got 15 hours a week, or 15 hours a day, or whatever you're doing, 15 hours a day to do work. And now I'm adding on additional tasks because now I got to keep track of this crazy project management program, which initially for people like me is like, I don't have time for that. So how do you sell that for people like me? It says, you're telling me to clean house a little bit, but you're asking me to add a task on that is kind of and this is the thing, detailed, which some people don't like details. Now, I'm not like that, but I know a lot of entrepreneur types who are, don't bother me with the details, just let me know where to sign radar. So
Yep. So it doesn't take away time. It actually makes time for you. So honestly, so many people get stuck in the tasks and not getting stuff done, and then they're not moving forward, and then they're stunting their business growth because they can't do the business development and grow the business because they're stuck in the back end. So it does take time to set it up, and it doesn't happen overnight. But once you put that habit in place and you've got that, it really does make you time. It allows you to grow your business, help more people, impact more people. That's the number one.
But the key is being
excuse that I
diligent.
get.
I mean, that's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
what it is. I mean,
You have to simplify it. It has to be simple and easy to use, or you're not going to use it.
Yeah.
Like if it is complicated, you're not going to use it.
Yeah.
So that's my entire motto is like, I want you to have the least amount of programs and softwares possible to run your entire business so that it's easy.
So is it possible, I was telling Angel recently, I was at this cool glass business, this was a few years back, that they had everything set up because they sell this stuff with the cubicles and everything, with the glass, that you could write on anything, which as a creative guy, I
love that.
So
I see a whiteboard and I'm like, I want to document an entire workflow.
So how does that translate when you obviously you're selling me that I need to get it digital, and it makes sense, but there's a lot of people who do want to write and doodle and do things. Do you scan it? And then people like me, it's like, don't scan it because I need to do a word search, and that won't, the scan doesn't typically, with my handwriting, will not figure out what it's saying.
No,
so
not.
how do you do that with people who like, I this was my quick story. I used to work at a place which was always like crazy ideas all the time at this big meeting once a month, and then you got done afterwards, and the administrative assistants were writing it down, but they didn't get it kind of down right because we're talking technical jargon. They didn't get it all. So what I started doing back in the days of flip phones, Brittany doesn't know what those are. I would take a picture of the whiteboard and then send it to everybody. just so I could say, look, this is what we agreed to. Don't tell me it was changed 2 weeks from now. So tell me how that works. How can, if you're a person who likes to write and jot, how do you get it digital?
Yeah, so you can't see me, but I have my iPad with my Apple Pencil, and I have an app called Good Notes, and I don't write on paper.
Yeah.
Like I don't remember the last time I wrote on paper because it actually backs everything up into my Google Drive. And I can also create PDFs from my notes and send them to multiple places. I can email them. I can send them to Trello or wherever you need to send them. So I actually use that because I love writing too. And like when I'm talking to clients, I can't type out notes while I'm talking to them because I want to be engaged. So I'm writing. And then I basically like transpond it at the end. And I'm like, oh, cool. What tasks do I need to do?
You're flow charting and making arrows and stuff like that.
Yeah. Flow charts and figuring out what that big picture strategy is and that kind of thing. So that's one of the biggest things I help with people. I don't want to just come in and put a Band-Aid and say, hey, use this tool. I really look at that big picture puzzle that they want to create and find the pieces that are going to fit the best to make that business work.
So there's ways to do it. If so basically what you're saying is obviously the worst way, but you could do it. You could scan or take photos and stick it in Trello. But if you can do it, start it digital with an iPad. If you got like the iPad Pro that has because I know all the Apple stuff, you
can
write with the pencil, write all that stuff. Or if you just take a photo, I know I do a lot of that when I'm making notes. I'll just take a quick shot and throw it in a note thing so I can make sure I can remember it. So
I see the next investment for Angel's Custom Cupcakes.
Yeah. Oh, Good Notes is amazing. It's amazing. Actually, there's we'll talk later, but there's a store you should go to get it. Anyways.
Okay.
Well, a story would be good. We got a few minutes left, and I'm going to put you on the spot here again, but give me, I love, because we talk about testimonials, but give me a story of a client that maybe you came in on and maybe they were like, Brittany, we're not going to change anything. Yeah. And you were able to change their world. Give me a quick story of a success.
Yeah, for sure. So I actually worked with a marketing firm here, and they were pretty organized. They had some stuff in place. They had a team of probably 8 people. So they had grown the business. Everything was working really well. But a couple of things they were still doing is they were still sending contracts, and then clients were having to print them out, sign them, and like fax them and scan them back in.
Yes.
I was like, there's a better way to do that. They had a CRM that was a little bit outdated, and they weren't using it, and they weren't following up with people. So their sales were down, and it just wasn't super efficient for the salesperson. And it also took them probably like 5 hours to send out proposals by the time they put things together.
Now, in today's world, 5 hours doesn't sound that bad, but
that's a long time.
That's a very long time.
Well, tell me what the target is.
Target for
like to
send out a proposal. Yeah. Okay, so if I get off of a sales call and someone says, yes, I want to work with you, I can send a proposal in 15 minutes.
Wow, that's nice.
Because I have templates.
Yes.
And amazing. Yeah. So, but I would say, under an hour is definitely like the target to hit. So it was basically taking them 4 and 5 hours to create these from scratch every single time. So what we did was implemented a CRM, one of my favorites. It's called Pipedrive. And we implemented a tool called PandaDocs for their contracts, proposals, signatures, and payments, because it collected payments because they were manually invoicing as well.
Wow.
After they received that emailed, faxed, signed contract.
Oh my goodness.
And then we kind of tie those all together. They all connect together and integrate. And essentially they had a decrease in like spelling errors and mistakes in proposals. They saved 4 hours of time sending every single proposal. They had a better close rate because they could get the proposals out faster, and they could also see when people were viewing the proposals, so they could check in with them. And they were able to follow up with people better because their CRM had an automated follow-up set every time a new lead was put in. So increased their sales, saved them tons of time, increased productivity, all just with a few tweaks. They had a lot of really great stuff in place, but I looked at it from a big picture standpoint and came in and made it better.
Well, that's exactly,
cool.
We look at, a lot of times when I come in with Ondo Media with folks and we want to do a video, we want to do such and such. And it's always about, I want to make you look like the hero. And that's what you're doing with your business. And I think that's awesome, because the simple fact of the matter is I know a lot of my bigger clients that I have were because it was an email or a call. Maybe I wasn't on the phone, but I immediately was able to get back with them within a few moments and show them instantly, you matter to me, and I'm gonna turn this back. We had a frustrating situation last week. I won't go into detail, but I had a subcontractor that I had to go through to get a talent, and they weren't responding to emails quick enough.
Yep.
And I'm like, and so now I'm on the day of the shoot, and I'm like, did you get my email? Are they going to show up at the right place? So being able to have those systems in place to say, oh, look, this just showed up and it's a proposal and it's got the logos and it's spelled right. And
Yeah, for sure.
That makes a huge difference for your business.
Yeah. And I mean, I've actually done a couple presentations on this. People don't need more leads. Everyone says, I need more leads. I need more leads. You don't. How many connections do you have on Facebook and LinkedIn and business cards and networking events? You don't need more leads. You need a better follow-up system. And you need to make sure you put them in your follow-up system and actually follow up with them, because the fortune's in the follow-up. So having a system in place.
Hold on, I'm writing that down. The fortune's in the follow-up.
That's not mine. I stole that from someone.
That's okay. We'll see.
I think it's fabulous.
It is.
But you really don't need more leads. Like, if you think about it, how many clients do you need to sustain your business for the year? How many connections do you have? It's all a numbers game. How many connections do you have? How many people do you talk to? Yeah.
I always maintain you're 1 gig away from, being a millionaire. I mean, how many people had that one thing and it fell into their lap and they were able to pull it off and it worked and they got favor, and you could be that gig. I always say this in television, we're a gig away from making $1 million. Yeah. And I think that's a good attitude to have. But if you don't have the processes, you're kind of up the creek.
Yeah, I mean, you can build a really successful business with like very messy process. I mean, everyone has processes.
Yeah.
You have to have something to be able to run a business. And you can build a really successful business with messy processes, but you're not going to scale and level up without really great processes, so that you can start onboarding team members and outsourcing some of your tasks and freeing up your time to do what you love.
So Brittany has a podcast that's called "A Process for." I keep doing it wrong. The Process for Profit podcast. Yep. Tell us where we can listen to it. It's obviously on all the platforms, I'm assuming, as well as your website and such.
It is, yeah. So my website is processforprofit.co. It's actually under Brittany & Co. Consulting is my main brand. So if you look on social media on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Pinterest, it's brittanyandco.consulting. But yeah, my podcast is on all the platforms. I'm pretty much everywhere.
So it's a lot of fun, and I've gotten to know her over the last couple of months, and she knows her stuff. I mean, I can tell your eyes are spinning. You're like, I'm getting ideas.
Mm-hmm. Well, I want her to go upstairs and organize my sprinkles now.
Oh, well, I guess
she might tell me I need to get rid of some.
I probably would.
Yeah,
really? I would. Yeah, I'm a minimalist. I'm like, less is more.
Okay, never more.
Well,
never mind. Never mind.
She's like, don't come to my cabinet.
Don't touch my sprinkles.
But we've talked about that sometimes. Sometimes less is more.
It really is.
And it was a longer
Not when
story.
it comes to sprinkles. I'm sorry.
I know.
That's a good.
Okay, thank you.
It's flavor.
Thank you.
I love my cupcakes and sprinkles.
Okay.
So I could get down with that.
Okay, see, I can bring her over to my side.
Fat is flavor. Malcolm, my barbecue mentor, tells us fat
we
is
all
flavor.
know
So
that.
you don't want to. Less is not more when it comes to food.
All right.
maybe.
All right. I'll give it to you. Less is not more in all situations.
Not
Yes.
only food. So
But with organizing,
with organization and business and owning a business, less is more.
Bring it back.
Simplify, all the things.
there you go.
good stuff.
So if you want to find out more about everything Brittany's got going on, I'm going to have all the links down in the information part of our podcast. And if you want more information about Ondo Media or Angel's Custom Cupcakes, we have those links as well. And if you're interested in getting a podcast going, Premier Podcast is our new podcast service. We're coaching, we're helping people, because we believe podcasts are the wave of the future. At least we think that's where it's going. So we'd love to have you on board. But whatever it is you're doing, we just want you to have a great time doing it and continue to live the dream.
Connect with John and Angel via Facebook and Instagram and let us know your thoughts. Marketing, Media, and Cupcakes is a production of Ondo Media.